Let us not forget everything that happens is by the will of Allah. It's time to unite and stand, and we will be the best amongst men. It's not time to be extreme or do you think about, but to stand together as one. To Sunnahfollowers streaming every day, various platforms. Trust me, you'll find a way. Sunnahfollowers. Sunnahfollowers. Presenting Volume 2 of Diluting Al-Wala Wal-Bara, part of the Right Belief series, the Unveiled Trilogy, written by Sheikh Kareem Abu Zaid. This book will focus on awakening the faith in a non-faith-centered world. Explained, broken down, and brought to you, unlike before, by Ustada Layla Nashiba. Join us Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern, right here on Sunnahfollowers.
Yes, that's the book. And you can go to Amazon.com. Yeah, the book is only cost $19.99. It's just $19.99. And again, all the profits from the book goes to help keep the expenses down at safausa.org, guys. You know, it's online Islamic school that I hope all of you are putting your children in. And let's talk about that for a minute. You know, it is very important, guys, that our children are homeschooled. We have a big problem here in America. A very, very, very big problem here in America when it comes to Muslim schools. You know, you guys know how I feel about the United Kingdom. I'm not really into Europe's, you know, I got a problem with European countries because of the European history. Y'all know I'm a history person. The Vikings, they were dynamic. I like the Viking history, even though they were barbaric, they were dynamic. But, you know, the history of Europe just turns me off. But one thing about the Muslims in Europe, they got better Islamic schools and stuff. Because what is it that we suffer with here in America is racism. The racism is horrific, even in so-called Muslim schools. Do you guys know how many African American children and children from Africa are treated like dirt in Islamic schools here in America? Oh, yeah. Y'all not aware of that in these other countries. America is the most racist country in the world. It really is. It's the country of all these freedoms and rights, but you're not going to experience racism until you come here. If you are Black, in fact, the darker you are, the more your children will be treated like dirt. I hate to say it, but I'm going to speak the truth. They're going to treat you like dirt in most of these Islamic schools. I have children from Africa who are still having therapy, going through counseling and therapy because of the abuse they were subjected to in these so-called Islamic schools. If you ain't Arab, or if you're not white, Caucasian, Bosnian, that's how they do you. So I highly recommend for the parents, put your kids in safausa.org. safausa.org. This is an international homeschool created by Sheikh Kareem Abu Zaid. Your children get a secular education as well as their Fitrah, the light of their Fitrah being revived too. Because as you all know, Imam Ibrahim Zidane is the head over his school. Okay. And y'all remember him from this website. He used to teach here. You're not going to experience that racism. Even when you go to the website, Sheikh Kareem Abu Zayd's website, FalsafaUSA.org, you see he shows pictures of African-American children, Black children, children of different colors, to show that there is none of that crap. Okay? He doesn't just have on his school Arabic children. No, they're Black kids, Arabic kids, all Pakistani kids. So, you know, really, I want you parents to consider SafaUSA.org. You'll get a secular education for your kids as well as a good Islamic education as well. Check it out. And his tuition is cheap. It's much cheaper than what I was paying my grandkids. Okay. Subhanallah. So check out Safa USA. But this is the book, Diluting Wala Wal Better, Volume 2, Sheikh Kareem Abu Zayd. We've been speaking about the Fitrah, how the Fitrah is trying to find its way back to Allah. We've talked about things that you and I can do to awaken the Fitrah. We can do things like, you know, usually, unfortunately, it takes a traumatic experience to awaken the Fitrah of a person's heart who has been turned into rock. For example, death, losing your job, or some serious calamity like that. But however the heart is back reawakened, then you can begin your journey to help your Fitrah fulfill its purpose of worshiping Allah the way Allah commanded us to do. And we talked about once that light is reignited, there are certain things we can do to keep it burning, such as surrounding ourselves with practicing Muslims, strong practicing Muslims, because we're the best weapon against Shaitan. And then we also talked about how other things we can do to keep that light within our hearts burning. Make sure we surround ourselves with a community of Muslims that are great. A good imam. That's the thing. That's another problem here in America. We got these board of directors, when it should be the imam, you know, in charge, running things in the masajid. Okay, so, you know, surround yourself with a good community that has a good imam. And today we're going to speak about, you know, the importance of being consistent in learning your religion, because one of the best ways to keep the light within your heart burning and to help your Fitrah find its way back to Allah is by pondering the words of Allah. That'll build your relationship with Allah. It'll build your faith and also better your relationship with other Muslims. So let's put the PowerPoint up on the screen for tonight, and we'll be covering pages 79 to 81 tonight. So everybody take out the book, Diluting Wala Wal Better. Take out the book. Turn to page 77. And once I put the PowerPoint up on the screen, inshallah, you guys can take screenshots and print the PowerPoint out at the end of the class so that you can download it and, you know, print it out, staple it together, attach it to page 77. So let me put this up to share the, yeah, y'all like my background? What y'all think of that background? Yeah, I had to make me a new background to try to help keep my anxiety down. This is good. It's just so, you know, releases my anxiety. But anyway, let me put this up and share it to you guys. This is the PowerPoint. Wait a minute. Open. There it is. Okay, let me go to Zoom. I got to talk myself through this because a brother showed me how to do this the other day. Zoom. Okay, you guys can see me. Let me share you to PowerPoint. go back to this, make the screen big. Mina, let me know if everything is showing up in full right now on YouTube. There it is. You guys should hopefully.
Yes.
Okay, mashallah. So this is the book. And when you guys go to Amazon, this is the red book. We completed volume 1. It took us a year. We're now on volume 2. It's going to take us another year. This is Diluting Al-Wala Wal-Bara, the Unveiled Trilogy, Volume 2. And this series focuses on awakening your faith in a non-faith-centered world. And this book, again, is written by Sheikh Kareem Abu Zaid. That's his picture. A lot of people ask me, why do I put his picture? Because you should know who you're getting your knowledge from. There's a lot of Abu Zaids out there. There's a lot of Kareems out there. Well, this is Kareem Abu Zaid. There's his picture. You guys know who he is. And there's me, yours truly. I use my picture because you have a right to know who you're getting your knowledge from. You're getting it from Ustada Layla Nashiba. Hello, there she is. All right. So today we're going to be covering pages 79 through 81. We're going to speak about how the Quran helps to keep your fitrah ignited within your heart. So let's look at it. And I really like the way Sheikh Kareem Abu Zaid, and by the way, all my pictures are generated, AI generated. I learned how to work it off of that program I use. So I generated my own pictures today. Alhamdulillah. Listen to this beautiful scenario that Sheikh Kareem begins this with. He says, imagine a soul that was once consumed by the allurement of the secular world. That soul drifted away from the path of Allah, its inner light of the fitrah fading into obscurity. Yet, because of the decree of Allah, a profound awakening begins within the person. A calamity strikes, or a realization dawns upon this soul, and it ignited that dead or sleeping flame. SubhanAllah. And that's how it happens for many of us, guys. Something bad may happen in our life. You lose your job or someone dies, whatever. It reignites that light that's been dormant. And then suddenly, the whole purpose of your existence becomes clear. Because once that light is awakening, you remember, I was created to worship Allah. And I was put here on this earth to prove to him that I believe in him. That's the realization. And then the soul, which is criminal and ignorant by nature, it begins to comprehend too that Allah brought it to this world for a purpose, to worship him. And then when the soul realizes this, a deep pang of regret seizes the heart as it realizes all the precious years that it wasted pursuing things that were of no significance. And the soul is also awakened to the fact that it will be held accountable for what it's done. How many of us have been there? I love the way Kareem Abu Zaid put this together. This is something that we Arabs are good at. Poetry. And I know I'm passionate. I'm a writer. I love this. How many of you have experienced this? I have. I've been there. How many of us have been there? Once that flame has been reignited, guys, That's when the soul conforms. That's when we begin to train the soul. We train it to submit to what it was created to do. Subhanallah. So the soul begins to understand that it's going to be asked about the evil things it did. It also understands that death can come at any moment. So with a renewed determination, that soul begins its journey of learning how to worship its Lord and align itself to the teachings of the Quran and the true Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And this awakening is a call to action. This awakening is an opportunity to reclaim that time we lost, guys. That time we spent, dwelling in this world, the allurement of this world, the sins of the soul. It's time to admit our flaws and forge a connection with Allah. Again, I think all of us have been there. All of us have been there. Subhanallah. So let this beautiful scenario inspire us all, guys, to seize the present moment. Seize the moment right now. A lot of you sisters email me because you can't get over the past. You can't get over your past relationships. You can't get over your past failures. Let the past stay where it is in the past. The dying dogs, sorry, let them die. Seize the present moment. Learn from your past. And then passionately pursue the path of worship, knowing that through your dedication and submission to Allah, then you will find the solace you need to get over your past mistakes. Then you will find the fulfillment and eternal success that's needed. MashaAllah. This is beautiful. I could not have worded this any better. Subhanallah. So, what we're going to do right now is explore the consequences of not reigniting that light. When we fail to honor, when we fail to nurture the heart, when we fail to nurture that light that is guided towards truth and submission, that's when we fall victim to various different outcomes. And the number one thing that we fall victim to, guys, is our whims and desires. Now, I got some brothers here. I don't get it. A lot of you brothers keep emailing me about this marijuana. You know it's haram. I don't care. Y'all got to stop listening to these influential media people on the internet. You know marijuana is haram. Why come you can't stop smoking it? You're giving in to your whims. You're giving in to your desires. Whenever we neglect the fitrah, this is what opens the door to indulging in worldly temptations. Another brother here, he says that he can't get over having sex. You got a problem. Get married. No, he said a woman won't marry him because he doesn't have a job. Well, I want to know what kind of women you lay with, because if they won't marry you, they ain't got a problem sexing you. What is this? You're giving into your worldly temptations without the guidance and restraint of your fitrah. This is when we succumb to our desires. Like Allah says in the Quran, we become like animals. In fact, we're worse than animals. We end up pursuing materialistic gains, sensual pleasures, and self-centered things. The reason why you can't give up that marijuana is because your fitrah has been diminished. The reason you can't stop having sexual intercourse out of marriage is because your fitrah is diminished. This deviation leads to emptiness, dissatisfaction, and an insatiable thirst for more, even though it's not making you happy. And I want to tell you, brothers, you know it's haram to smoke weed. Tell me, once that high comes down, once you come down from that high, how do you feel? You feel sad, you feel guilty, you feel depressed. So smoking that weed ain't helping you. For you brothers is telling me you can't stop having sex with women out of wedlock. Once you get that little 5 seconds of delight, what happens? You feel empty, you feel dissatisfied, you feel insatiable. So it's not helping you. Subhanallah. So this is the number one problem that occurs when we fail to honor and nurture the fitrah within our heart. We give in to our desires, we give in to our whims and all that, and we make excuses to keep doing it. Also, another consequence is this one too. You end up adopting religious misconceptions. Whenever we neglect the fitrah, you become susceptible to misguided beliefs. You end up converting to Christianity, or you end up becoming a Wiccan, or you become an innovator. You claim you Muslim still, but you innovate. You do like a lot of these social media influencers do. You distort the understandings of Islam. Even today, when I'm in here doing my classes, I want y'all to look at the people typing. There's people right in here typing. They're not even listening to what I'm saying. They're typing their own distorted understanding of the religion. That's because their inner light is diminished. You fall prey to misconceptions, misunderstandings, or religious extremism. So again, these are two of the most profound consequences that happen to us as Muslims when we neglect nurturing the fitrah within our heart. So that's why we encourage people to ponder. I don't say read, I say ponder. To ponder the meaning of the Quran, because the Quran serves as evidence of the existence of Allah. The Quran is evidence of his wisdom, and it can rectify and purify the corrupted fitrah within your heart. That's what happened to the companions, guys. Look at the story of Umar, radiallahu anha. We talked about Umar. Remember, Umar was one of the biggest enemies to the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, one of the biggest enemies of Islam. In fact, he set out to kill the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But when he heard the words of Allah being recited and pondered what was being said, look how it reformed him. It changed him from being an enemy to the second most important companion ever. In fact, he will be the second one to enter paradise after the Prophet Muhammad, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And not just Umar, but also Khalid bin Walid. Take a screenshot of this page here. Give y'all a second. Screenshotted it. Okay. Also the same happened with Khalid bin Walid. Khalid bin Walid, who fought for the enemies. When his first cousin, who was like a sister to him, that was Salama. When Salama married the prophet, he said there must be something good about this new religion. If it caused my sister to marry this man. And that's when he began to come in and spy on the companions. And he was surprised to see the brotherhood, the Tarbiyah and all of that. And he ended up converting. I want you guys to ponder these words of Allah. Allah tells us in the interpretation of the meaning, is he who was dead, meaning without faith, due to his ignorance or his disbelief. But then we brought the person back to life through knowledge and faith. And we set for the person a light of belief within their heart, where they can walk amongst men like him, who is in the darkness from which he can never come out. Thus it is made fair seeming to the disbelievers that which they used to do. This is a powerful verse of the Quran, because this verse speaks of the transformation that we go from darkness to light, the journey that we indulge upon as Muslims, that spiritual journey from a dead heart to a heart that is alive, to a heart that believes in Allah. Now, a lot of the scholars say that this verse of the Quran was sent down as a result of Umar, because Umar transformed from an opponent to a leader. And also some scholars say it was sent down because of Khalid bin Walid too. But regardless, how many of you can relate to this? How many of you once lived in darkness, selling drugs? Some of you sisters used to prostitute. Oh yeah, I got some of the sisters that tell me stories how they used to be strippers, how they used to actually work as strippers, but mashallah, Allah guided them to Islam. And these women are good practicing Muslims today, good mothers. They even helped me here on my website, but they used to be strippers. So many of you have stories like that, where Allah took you from out of darkness and guided you to the light, all because you heard the words of Allah being recited. You heard someone speaking about Allah in a very, very igniting way. Many of you tell me that you were born Muslim, but you weren't practicing, but you heard one of my lectures. Oh, Layla Nashiba, something about her. She woke up my light. Why do y'all think I speak this way? I'm a dawah. I'm a professional communication scientist. I know how to wake up your heart. I know how to move my voice up and down to wake it up if it's sleep. Bring it back to life if it's dead. With the words of Allah. Y'all got that? So the divine revelation, the Quran, can rectify and purify the corrupted fitrah of a human heart. The wisdom and guidance contained in the Quran and the hadiths of our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they possess the transformative power to reshape your perspective on life, to reshape your values of life, your actions, and make them all in sync with what Allah commands of us. And by the way, guys, the ability of this happening shows the wisdom of Allah. Allah's words are not like the words of man. It shows that Allah is merciful. It shows that Allah is the one who guides. It shows that we were created for a purpose. We just have to fulfill it. And this is how the companions became the great men and women that they were. Not just Umar, not just Khalid bin Walid, but you will see all these type of wonderful stories of transformation from pondering, hearing, and then pondering the meaning of Allah's words. Subhanallah. So this is why we'll tell you guys to read the Quran. But we don't mean just read it, ponder it. And don't just read it in Arabic because you don't speak Arabic. How can the Quran be of benefit to you if you don't know what it's saying? A lot of you Bantus, y'all read it in Arabic and you don't speak Arabic. Forget that. Read it in whatever transliteration that it's in so you can get a grasp of the meaning, and then it'll benefit you. Does everybody understand that? And be consistent. So now, let's look at a couple of questions. I got a couple of questions for you. Short quiz. Question number 1. How is it that failure to nourish your fitrah can lead you to giving in to your desires? Who can answer that? How is it that if you fail to nourish the light within your heart, it'll lead to you giving in to your desires? Who can answer that? Go ahead, hurry up. We got another class. Let's keep it moving. Anyone? Why does it happen, in other words? Why is it that I end up giving into my desires? What makes me give into my desires? Why do I give into my desires? Number one, you don't go ahead.
A good connection with the Quran, or you don't remember the words of Allah.
That, and also, exactly. I have no connection to Allah. I don't understand what my purpose is. I'm giving in to my desires because I don't know right from wrong. I don't know the consequences. I'm smoking weed because I'm ignorant to the consequences. Or maybe my faith is questionable. I really don't believe in the punishment of the grave. Y'all understand? So that's why we have to constantly reinforce what Allah says. Know the laws of Allah. Know what Allah is telling us, because that's how we stay away from that. Okay, what about this? And I'm making it fast because we got Brother Mukhtar's class in a couple of minutes. How does neglecting the fitrah lead to misguided beliefs? How does neglecting the light within your heart lead to you becoming a Sufi or a fanatic, an extremist? What makes it happen? How can a person become an extremist, a fanatic, a Sufi? We got one famous personality, graduated from the University of Medina, used to teach here at my website. I used to love that brother for the sake of Allah. He was all about the Salafi, and now look at him, he's Sufi. What happened? What caused that to happen, guys?
Not listening to his angel that's in the heart, not listening to any advice that's good, and letting the bad oversee him.
Exactly, the company. He started hanging around with Sufi brothers. Their indoctrination rubbed off on him. All about the fame. His priorities changed. He went from the University of Medina to Princeton, to an Ivy League American Kafir school. That's what happens when you don't give the fitrah the type of knowledge it needs. You choose secular knowledge over the knowledge of Allah. Your priorities change. Okay, so these are just some of the things, that can stand in the way of our light burning within our hearts, our fitrah growing, and all of that.